Welcome, everyone. We appreciate you joining us wherever you may be in the world. We've got a great topic for you today. The topic of our conversation is natural alternatives for managing Parkinson's. That would be Parkinson's disease. Joining me today is the founder of the Modexus Product Research Council, Dr. Charles Rouse. Dr. Rouse is in Albany, Georgia. Dr. Rouse, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
Hey, Randy, always a pleasure. It's a good idea to do these things because we're getting feedback from hundreds of people and how important it is for them just to know the basics. And sometimes people either forget what they know or they need to know some more. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, you're more than welcome. And I like doing these as well because I think a lot of times it serves as kind of a memory jogger of people that maybe we need to talk to, maybe we need to reach out to and share what we have. And we know what we have is changing lives because of the stories that you just spoke of. And so our topic today, natural alternatives to managing Parkinson's disease. And, Parkinson's, I think, hits a lot closer to home for a whole lot more people, maybe than what we realize sometimes. But I also think that a lot of people maybe don't understand really what is Parkinson's disease, what causes it. So let's start there if we could. Help us understand what it is.
I sure will. And one of the major factors in Parkinson's disease is a neurotransmitter. You know, the brain is a marvelous apparatus, a unique creation of God. And one particular neurotransmitter called dopamine, when it starts to diminish, the symptoms of Parkinson's begins to show up. So to think of it out of the box, we would just simply call it a neurological problem. It has everything to do with the neurological system of the human body, and that goes all the way down into the muscle fiber, but it starts in the brain. And whenever there's a damage to the nerve cells in the brain in particular, in that area of the brain that we call the basal ganglia, we talk about gray matter and white matter and limbic systems, but this part of the brain is very special. It controls the muscle movements of all the human body, the basal ganglia. And for those of you that are in medicine and nursing and want more details, I'll remind you, Physiology 101, in that brain section, the basal ganglia, the area that gets trapped with all of these toxins is called the substantia nigra, So it's that dark area inside the basal ganglia. And since it's most specific for the control of your muscles, that needs to be paramount. I mean, you can't walk normally without good muscle operation. And what people notice, first of all, is when they start getting a slight tremor, whatever it is it the muscle throughout the hand, and it shows itself in that way. It happens because the brain is causing the muscle to be tense and the movement to be slow. And these brain cells operate off of a chemistry called dopamine. The older we get, the less our body produces dopamine. So we're all susceptible. But the good news is that we don't have to let the toxins in to our basal ganglia that causes and creates the misery or the problem. One of the number one chemistries, now that they do autopsies on Parkinson's patients and look at the viable tissue from the basal ganglia, is an insecticide. And they say that a lot of those bug sprays that we use in our house to kill the roach or to get rid of the gnat or the fly is the culprit that comes to our brain. But I got good news for you. Even though we live in a toxic environment, and even though the world is buggy and we're scatting the nemesis, we have an answer at Modexus that can actually literally physically give you the prevention so that you don't have to go down that trail of difficulty. They say, Dr. Charlie, give me the basic 101. Then what are the signs? And I just mentioned that the tremor in the hand or even the arm or the leg generally is the first one. But another clear sign of Parkinson is when people get what they call the pill rolling. You sit around with a Parkinson's patient and watch these two fingers, the thumb and the index finger, they always are peel rolling. I don't know what it is about that neurological part of the brain. And if they get up to take a walk, they shuffle. It's a stiff walk, and their steps are rather shuffling. Most Parkinson's patients that have gone years into Parkinson's have a stooped over posture. They don't stand upright anymore. They're more leaning toward their walk just to get going. And if you look at a Parkinson's patient, just look him or her right in the eye, they're generally unblinking. They don't blink the eye nearly as much as the eye needs to be blinked for moisture. And it's like their whole body expression is just fixed. So that's the symptoms or the signs. And as I said a moment ago, the cause for Parkinson's is neurotoxins. It's toxic chemistry that gets trapped and embedded inside the substantia nigra. And when it gets in that cell, and we got trillions of cells in the human body, and those cells can be very proactive and good for you. But in the brain, if that chemistry gets into the brain and starts messing with you, then things are going to be more difficult, because cell damage on top of cell toxicity is a bad thing. One of the bad things we're seeing now with so many people taking the what we would call a gene therapy, like get a shot for coronavirus. We're now finding that the mRNA shots in people who have already existing Parkinson's disease, it's starting to exacerbate. We're seeing more clinical symptoms become more aggressive than ever before. And that stands to reason, because a shot many times is going to create more nerve damage. That's just part of the system, because those shots are not clean. They do carry chemistry that the human body has to tend with or contend with in any area. And because insecticides are the number one reason you can't go into a house or a village without being exposed to insecticides. And prescription drugs, pharmaceutical, the doctor writes a prescription. They're all designed not to really treat the Parkinson's, but only to subside the symptoms. We're trying to get them to where they can walk better, shake less, and have a little more dynamics in their muscle system. But I know, and I'm a pharmacist, and I'm thinking all the prescription drugs, and there's a plethora of prescription drugs that are out there to raise the dopamine levels of the brain. And I can't think of one prescription drug that addresses the underlying cause and the real process of degeneration. So the key, and the real key for prevention as well as helping people with Parkinson's, is getting down to the cause and improving the brain metabolism. Now, isn't that going to be neat? If that person is given good nutrition, natural medicine is winning the victory in Parkinson's, because they're the only standard of medicine that's actually going to the root cause. First of all, you got to help the body to get rid of the toxins, whatever the issues are. You need to help the body to produce sufficient amounts of dopamine. And you also need the body to be more bioavailable in a metabolic sense in brain activity. And believe me, the neurotransmitters, the acetylcholine, the serotonin, the dopamine, the gamma aminobutyric acid, all those chemistries are very unique in that they work together in a nice way. But if one block of any chemistry is missing, it makes all the other neurotransmitters to stumble. So patients who have Parkinson's are often, they have terrible sleep patterns, depression patterns, anxiety, a whole lot of different things. So getting to the root cause and improving the brain chemistry is a good thing. And almost all Parkinson's patients have trouble digesting animal protein. So if you didn't learn anything else today, change your diet. You're going to probably have to eat a whole lot less in animal protein and become more nutraceutical. Yeah, it's okay to eat some protein, but make it more the vegetable side of it than you do the animal. And then good nutrition. At Modexus, we have two very special nutritions that are brain proponents that help the brain to activate and the brain to become more fluid. It's almost like the brain needs more plasticity. And when the brain becomes more viable and more fluid, those cell membranes are proactive. We call our brain nutrition, we call it LIFT, L-I-F-T, which is the good way to put neurotransmitters back into the system. But because the major culprit is toxicity, we need glutathione, selenium, we need zinc, we need the combination of glutathione, selenium, and zinc to acclimate the brain tissue to pull out the toxins without creating toxicity in the rest of the body. And with that, we call that Lonacera longevity. It has all of the minerals that we need, the selenium, the zinc, the copper, the balance. You don't want to be over productive in any mineral because that'll create more chaos and confusion. So we use high technology nutrition, Centramin, etc., to balance the selenium, the copper, the zinc. Now the glutathione, which is a true cell-to-cell detoxifier, can do the work because it has the energy and the cycle to do it. And did you know that healthy memory and cognition are directly related to dopamine? And guess what? There's a lot of people that say, I've got a thinker that ain't thinking like it used to thunk. And LIFT, L-I-F-T, is designed to bring your dopamine levels up, because if you don't have good dopamine levels, you're not going to have good cognition nor memory. And Lonacera longevity and LIFT are designed to help the neurons in the brain to produce energy. The whole body loves energy, but 40% of all the energy of your body needs to go to the brain. And when you protect the integrity of the brain cell, that's what Lonacera longevity is all about. That's what LIFT is providing nutrition for. Then the glutathione can go into the brain cells, the small, tiny little areas, and start removing exposed chemicals. When that happens, the muscles get stronger. So Lonacera longevity and LIFT are dynamic for muscle strength and better muscle power. In the zinc and the copper, those are two minerals that the brain requires in order to produce an enzyme called super oxide dismutase, SOD. It's the most important energy chemistry in the whole human brain. superoxide dismutase, SOD. Glutathione wants to produce that, but it requires copper and zinc in ratio, minute nano amounts, but necessary. If you give it too much zinc, which a lot of people with coronaviruses overshot their bodies with zinc, undershot their bodies with copper. That was a terrible thing to do. But in the Lanacera longevity, it's a well thought out manufactured product because it's highly put together by science and research. And the copper as well as the zinc are in that to bring together to improve the glutathione's ability to produce superoxide dismutate. That's one of the most potent antioxidants in all of the history. The centramin then comes along and undergirds everything by balancing the pH, the power of hydrogen. See, water, H2O, wants to do a good work, but it takes hydrogen to interchange with the oxygen. And that's called the power of hydrogen, pH. So our product, Lanacera Longevity, brings an acidic environment up to a normal pH of 7, which is perfect for getting all this done. Now, for the first time in the brain chemistry, with the glutathione, with the lift, now your body is providing your brain a potent detoxifier. You know, the kidneys and the liver, they're going to help in the detox system, but they can't do diddly squat unless the brain gets it out and brings it to the blood to get rid of it. And when the chemistry is all functioning together, you're building neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, gamma aminobutyric acid, all the acetylcholines, all the dopamine that the body needs to do what it needs to do. So helping your neurotransmitters is what Modexus is all about. And what we're going to see, we're a baby company, but I guarantee you Dr. Charlie's excited about this, because down the road, decades later, we're going to see some of the most amazing anti-aging benefits. Can you imagine right now if our 10, 15, 20, 25-year-old people were to start with Lanacera Longevity now? Because we know that dopamine is going to drastically diminish in elderly age, and the body's going to continually sucking in insecticide, pesticide, herbicide, and chemistry. And we start young and we continue forward, we're going to see some of the most profound anti-aging benefits in the history of the world. Our products are designed to supply the mitochondria, the energy factories of the brain, as well as progress the enzyme activation systems like SOD, superoxide dismutase. That's what Modexus is all about. No, it's not a product in our product. Our product naturally produces superoxide dismutase, and all the nutrition in Lanacera Longevity and Lift are going to ally together to prevent neuron damage and to patch up what has already been broken down. So we're into it for you to circumvent cell death. We're here to help your brain oxygenate. And if you are a Parkinson's patient and you already take a plethora of prescription drugs, let me give you a good pharmaceutical advice. Separate your prescription drugs from your natural medicine. Put them at least an hour apart, maybe 2. Because if you separate the prescription drug from the natural medicine, the dosage, what you're going to do is you're going to prevent a competition for absorption. See, what you want is when you swallow it down the goozle, you want those little lumens, those little fingers in the small intestine to grab it all and give you all the gusto. But if you swallow a handful of prescription drugs with your natural medicine, I guarantee you that prescription drug's going to try to outrace and gobble up the absorptibility of the others. So separate your drugs if you are a Parkinson's patient. How about that, Randy? Did you learn anything today?
Dr. Rouse, I always learn something from you, and I'm so thankful that you follow your gift every single day, and you share this information with us so freely. Guys, you can see he has a very busy shop and practice in Albany, Georgia. But Dr. Rouse, we're so thankful you said yes to Modexus, and you take your time to share this information so freely. And we're finding this information to be life-changing for so many. Parkinson's, I did learn a lot today, and it hits a lot of us closer to home sometimes than maybe we even want to talk about. It's a real, I'm seeing an increase in Parkinson's and other neurological diseases. I'm gonna let you say the hard words, but here's the takeaway from this. Yes, start now, whatever age you are. If we can start our children young, our young adults young, taking good, safe, effective, efficient, do no harm products day in and day out, detox daily, feed your brain, build your immunity. And for those that are already experiencing the throes of Parkinson's and the symptoms, you can lead a better quality of life. That's what I've taken away from this today. Dr. Rouse, thank you so much. Fantastic information. For those of you that have listened in today, I hope you will take time to share this information with someone that needs it, that needs to hear it today. Sharing is caring. You must take time, share this information. And if you want more information on what Modexus has to offer that can bring that better quality of life, get back with the person that shared this link with you and take action today. Thank you very much. And until next time, stay healthy.